forces of this omniverse to let you know that as existential terraforming is underway, the Commonwealth has a formal event to introduce the locals to the new arrivals of their omniverse, to foster some understanding and kinship. For this, the celebration of omniversal discovery is held. Above the spinning tablet, the illusory scene of a massive golden trophy could be seen, an interminable wheel painted on the sides of this trophy as the illusory figure of a monkey-like light. Existence, burning with crimson gold fur, was holding up this trophy gloriously. The Empress of the Orcanium whales saw the raised brows of Noah and Eckert in the distance as she harumphed. "I am very much serious. Protectors of the Commonwealth will be there, along with the architects that will be designing the omniversal constructs in this omniverse. And of course, lucky citizens of the Commonwealth who were granted an omniversal visitation ticket to observe a newly discovered omniverse and the myriad of sources of existence that will participate in this celebration of omniversal discovery." Cerulean flames burned around her figure as the tablet floating above returned to her, her fingers tapping out and releasing two balls of light toward Noah and Eckert. Details and location are included within. I believe the first omniversal construct of the Commonwealth has been completed at the point of entry of the first protector to arrive at. So you all can select however many of your people will witness the Commonwealth and this new unfolding era for your omniverse, or not attend and be the first to offend them. Your choice. Noah grabbed the bundle of information as he nodded towards her. "And you?" "Me? I have to now oversee the fruits of my labor and ensure the smooth continuity of existential terraforming. If I leave it alone and anything goes wrong, the effects could be catastrophic." The Empress tapped her feet as a sea of blue flames bloomed below her. A body of water made of paradoxical flames was quickly formed as she submerged into it, sitting in a meditative pose beside the massive trunk of the existential modulator in the form of a tree. Her words made Noah think of the feature of nuclear omniversal weapons generation and the types of weapons that the infinite omniverse wanted to build that would carry out the exact catastrophe that the Empress of the existential omniversal Orcanium whales wanted to prevent. Chapter 3183, Existential Terraforming. 6. Her ideas made way for Noah to begin terraforming himself. And the biggest negative she wanted to prevent was something that Noah was already studying how to induce it. It was a terrifying set of actions if ever she found out about it, but her current actions were also ones that spoke about a new reality that was unfolding right in front of them. Her action of terraforming, followed by her remaining fully situated in this place. It was an action representative of many things, but one thing was clear, and Noah gazed towards Eckert as the two of them shared the same gaze of understanding. The main action this represented was that truly, Cappadocia was no longer under the banner of the natives of this omniverse. This applied to Cappadocia today, and it would apply to many places in the near future as the existential terraforming continued. So truly, how would they triumph against the Commonwealth in the future to come? A challenging question with no answer. But Noah calmly looked forward to the future as his body split into two in the next moment. One shooting towards the direction that should be the first entry point of Protector Antonio, while his other body... You wouldn't mind if I continued to talk to you from one citizen of the Commonwealth to another, right? I want to know of any connection there is, if any, between the worms of existence and the Commonwealth. More information on the Commonwealth. The Empress of the Orcanian whales here was more talkative than anyone Noah had met, so why not milk her for some more information? And even this celebration omniversal discovery, where the forces of the Commonwealth would be showing themselves along with multiple entities from all sorts of walks of existence, all of it was akin to a research paradise for Noah, who was looking to fill up his atlas of existence. He looked forward to it. At the same time, the ascendant existential extremity authority of manodynamics burned around him to create a cerulean sea the same size as the Empress, his figure becoming surrounded by it as he looked out with interest. The Empress of the Orcanium whales looked at him silently before her lips parted to open. Right. As fellow citizens, well, this information isn't something regulated, as you would come to know sooner or later. The worms of existence, are a form of anti-existence prevalent across the omniverses. In her sea of flames, she seemed to be recalling distant memories as the sea of flames around her undulated, her figure filled with a unique sense of beauty as she continued. Your omniverse has the initial stages of their infection, with neonatal worms of existence beginning to eat up your omniverse, as such an infection is reversible. The Commonwealth has been eradicating worms of existence for as long as history has been preserved, with the constant cycles making them extremely perceptive to each other. As where the Commonwealth goes, the worms of existence follow. And wherever the worms of existence go, there is a high likelihood for the Commonwealth to also discover them and follow. The Commonwealth had been fighting worms of existence since history began to be recorded. Right now, at their neonatal stage, the worms of existence are extremely perceptive to threats that can eradicate them, as they will likely hide and continue their infection through the gaps of existence within this omniverse. To locate them, the protectors will likely utilize synthetic existences to track them down before they take action. If the infection had advanced with these worms of existence devouring a large portion of this omniverse, the trouble that comes with that is something you cannot even imagine. Her eyes burned with a somber tone as she spoke about this, Noah nodding with interest as in the far distance, the figure of Eckert had a thoughtful expression. Eckert had many of those he subjugated, devoured by the worms of existence, as his will had been inside of them more times than he could count before it was broken down. Recalling every sensation of destruction he felt, and the fact that these worms of existence were only in their initial stages while being a massive threat to this so-called Commonwealth for countless eons, if he could somehow subjugate any of them before his will was destroyed. A blooming idea, and one that the great usurper did not waste any time on before he began to enact it, as while he also absorbed new waves of information from the Empress of the Orcanium whales, his will stretched out across tens of thousands of Imperium forces began to move. In the flaming blue sea, the Empress of the Orcanium whales seemed to have sensed something as she briefly turned her gaze towards Eckert's direction before she continued. The Commonwealth arriving here allows for this infection of worms of existence to stop and eventually be eradicated in time. Any hostility you all may have against the Commonwealth should be dulled down greatly with such a reality, yes? The Protectors. Their name held meaning as they fought on the front lines against enemies that wished to devour all of existence. Noah smiled at such a notion as he continued to talk to the Empress of the Orcanian whales, his other body arriving at the point within this omniverse where the celebration of omniversal discovery should be taking place. Iridescent. This was the single best word to describe what used to be a dark point in a corner of the omniverse with no signs of light. Yet at this moment, it was shining unfathomably bright as massive golden pillars, burning with flames, acted like beacons lighting everything up. And they floated like celestial candles as they encircled a massive circular construct that seemed to be in the form of a wheel. Noah appeared in this region as his eyes squinted at the massive construct that exceeded the size of many existential domains. Its golden brilliance painted with a crimson hue, making it look like an object that no normal entity could ever construct. The construct in the form of a wheel held too many intricate designs to count, but there was a wide entrance at its very center where, at this moment, millions of auras of other beings could already be felt. Chapter 3184, The Commonwealth. 1. It was not still. The massive wheel spun gloriously as it radiated pulses of golden light towards the surroundings. Noah feeling these waves even from a distance, as they seemed to be enriching all surrounding forms of existence. You have entered an area of an existential domain with absolute effects. The existential ruling of the Wheel of Weaving seeks to impose itself on your existence. Your source of existence will circulate 20% faster in this domain. Its expansion and strengthening further increased by 50%. In addition to this, the marking of the Wheel of Weaving will be applied to your current existence, its location and status being constantly recorded. A boon and a tracking feature to come along with it. Noah's eyes shone brightly as he began to analyze everything while floating closer towards the incandescent wheel. The massive pillars of crimson gold light that seemed to be like torches lit up everything, as even from afar, Noah could see the monkey-like figures in the millions floating towards the center of the wheel. The moment he neared, or truly, it was the moment the waves of golden light pulsing from the wheel touched him. Many auras gazed towards his direction as if they knew. This was because moments later, whap! A figure warped before his eyes, white gold fur, a humanoid monkey face, a vibrant gold tail. The features weren't as regal or oppressive as Protector Antonio's, but this being held their own charm as they smiled and spoke toward Noah. You must be one of the prime citizens of this omniverse. I shall be your guide to the Commonwealth and this glorious celebration of omniversal discovery. Please. The guide pointed towards the pulsing wheel of weaving as Noah floated in freely while asking, Prime citizen? Any leader of the factions of the newly discovered omniverse gets this perk that allows you much more leeway and freedom across the workings of the Commonwealth. Observing your figure, and based on the information passed down, you must be Prime Citizen Emperor Osmond. An air of profound confidence burned within the guide as he spoke, Noah sensing tendrils of authority equivalent to the stage of autarky from this being as his source of existence was still not easy to discern. That would be me. Is it protocol for millions of entrants to come into a newly discovered omniverse? Noah's eyes were locked onto the scenes around the Wheel of Weavings as he asked. Beside him, the guide let out a smile as he shook his head. Only for large omniverses filled with high levels of existence and potential. More join in with the festivities of the celebration of omniversal discovery, as every time this occurs, a show gets to be put on for entities from a variety of different sources of existence to express themselves. The main attraction of the celebration of omniversal discovery, the gladiators of the omniverses. Doa, the gladiators of the omniverses. Literal sparks and waves of golden brilliance burst from the mouth of the guide as he said these words. Those who are victorious and achieve high rankings as gladiators of omniverses get to enjoy and revel in the vaults of the Commonwealth as they can further propel their existence forward. But to attain any high ranking and distinction, one must attain victory over multiple entities with different sources of existence. Conceptual systems of existence like yours make up the majority, but then you have the variety of existence coming in, as there are those with different sources of existence that you can only experience to understand. Overcome them and prove your system of existence, and glory lies ahead. A chance to fight against other entities from different sources of existence. If outstanding enough, one could receive a high ranking that allowed them access to the vaults of the Commonwealth. Noah gazed at the guide, the auras of many entities far ahead as he had to say it. The Commonwealth were invaders, but they were truly good at what they did. They invaded and began taking over an omniverse, and yet every part of their approach made it seem like they were saving the omniverse from a grave danger, as thereafter, they were doing everything they could to include it in a more massive civilization. Please. They arrived at the massive entry point of the construct in the form of a wheel. This entry point alone being the size of a cosmos, as hundreds of thousands of uniquely designed vessels were already floating and moving around it. Within them, entities adorned in regal dresses and clothing at the terracosm and paracosm equivalent stages could be discerned, their eyes bright as if they were about to set off to visit a zoo. Many rose their wills to observe Noah as if he had a marking above him that stated he was a native. Seeing this scene, the guide smiled as he took them in while explaining. The citizens of the Commonwealth love nothing more than connecting with others of different existences. Of course, matches of the gladiators' omniverses also draw in a lot of us. As the guide spoke, Noah fully entered the Wheel of Weavings as within it, it felt like one had stepped into an entirely different reality. All sound seemed cut off, as in the far distance, a massive golden portal could be seen to the left, where vessels constantly streamed out of its weavings, immeasurably stable, as it was an established connection between this omniverse and another. And to the right was something radiant with a crimson and golden glow that could only be described as a coliseum from pure dreams and fantasy. The gladiators' arena. The guide spoke succinctly as the aura of autarchical equivalent entities could be felt towards that direction the most. the place that will be the center of all activities. Come, Prime Citizen Emperor Osmo, and let me show you the wonders of the Commonwealth. Their figures warped towards the gladiators' arena, Noah keeping a close eye on everything, as amidst all of this showy exterior, his inquisitive mind could see many things that were never explained. Chapter 3185, The Commonwealth, the Sixth. Of the massive wheel of weavings he had seen, the entrance alone led one into an area where they could see a portal to the left where the forces of the Commonwealth were coming from, and the gladiators' arena to the right where the bulk of the festivities would be taking place. But these were only relatively small parts of the wheel of weavings. This construct was massive, as what was the purpose of all the intricately designed areas apart from this gladiators' arena and iridescent golden portal? The mind of the weaver of existence buzzed. A part of itself was sectioned off from Noah and left behind, the authority of the laborer of the Atlas of existence wrapping around it as it stayed behind. It was time to discover just what else this massive construct of the Commonwealth held, Noah's will silently melding into the weavings of existence in the surroundings and shooting upwards. At the same time, his body arrived at the entry point of the gladiators' arena, stepping through wide crimson doors as alongside them, entities with different variations could be seen. Many had a monkey-like humanoid physiology, their fur variations of gold, crimson, white, and even black, as they were adorned in similar armaments and clothing. Others were more similar to Noah in their humanoid appearance, and figures of a few entities that were 10 times bigger compared to others here could also be seen. Many of them were at the terracosm and paracosm stage, as it was only after passing through the crimson doors did Noah's eyes capture the aura of autarchical equivalent entities he had felt from a distance. The first point of entry within the gladiators' arena showed a long, extended walkway lined with golden stones, and to its left and right, a variety of what looked like stores were set up. Dazzling armaments, radiating profound waves of existence. Vessels put on display. And towards the far end, there was even a taller building that many people were going in and out of that had the inscription of Tavern of Existence above its doors. Delicacies, armaments, and various forms of entertainment can be found within the gladiators' arena, with other areas even holding domains with distorted weavings of time and existence. An hour within such domains would only be 30 minutes out here, and the concentration of the weavings of existence are much more potent for cultivation. One has to pay to gain access to it, and currency is, of course, anything that is born from an omniverse that is conducive to the promotion of existence. Currency. When they got to this point, Noah gazed over the establishments with Teleos, Terracosm, and Paracosm stage entities, overseeing them as they held armaments of existence shimmering with multicolored radiance among other things. Within him, the authority of the laborer of the Atlas of existence buzzed as he evaluated many things before he sought to release the bait. He waved his hand to materialize a golden quintessential fruit of existence as he asked, "Currency like this?" The mere wave of his hand caused the guide's eyes to open wide as he reached out to clasp the golden quintessential fruit of existence in his hands. It was born from the Alethean haven of Elysium as liquid gold light surrounded its surface, a potent aura leaking from it as it even caused a few eyes in the surroundings to turn over. This purity of existence, this potency, even I can make small advancements if I eat up enough of these. The guide brought the quintessential fruit of existence to his nose and smelled as his eyes simmered with brightness thereafter. A single one of these would be equivalent to upwards of 1,000 units of the wheel. The wheel, the currency of the Commonwealth. The eyes of the guide turned towards Noah as they held a fervent light within them at this moment as he asked, "Are these the fruits born naturally within existential domains in this omniverse? Are they all like this?" His eyes seemed to be burning with brilliance as he asked, and Noah looked at this scene with a silent smile as he replied, "Some areas produce something like this, some areas don't. With the terraforming you all are doing." The eyes of the guide opened in surprise. "You know of that? Yes, may I keep this? In exchange, I will introduce to you the Tavern of Existence and how one can truly enrich oneself within it, my treat. After that, we can get you the mark of the gladiator and be ready when things start." Even as he spoke, his hands flashed with a blue device that scanned the quintessential fruit of existence and caused it to disappear. The tail of this monkey-like being visibly moving with a hint of expectation and excitement as he pulled Noah forward. Around them, the Teleos stage entities and above looked at each other with sharp eyes of greed before they stared out of the gladiator's arena, out towards the vast omniverse they had just arrived in. It seemed this omniverse held great riches for them to attain and further elevate their existence. Within the Wheel of Weavings, far above the dazzling golden portal and the gladiator's arena, a portion of Noah's will was moving silently across the countless threads and waves of existence. He passed through radiant crimson gold pillars and walls that connected together to form this massive construct, the material being something that even someone at the Paracosm stage had to put in effort to break. He passed through many empty rooms and halls of varying sizes, with nothing within but the hollowness of existence. This continued for a few minutes as he continued to carefully move his will across until eventually he passed through a wall that didn't have only emptiness beyond it. His will arrived at an area of the Wheel of Weavings that was extremely vast, tendrils of crimson gold light swirling within as they surrounded multiple identical devices. They looked like hourglasses, but their ends converged towards each other to form a small circle on both ends. At the midpoint of the thousands of massive hourglasses, Noah could see a band of, yet again, a wheel. His will burned with brightness as he began to analyze just what these massive objects could be, but not before his will locked onto a calm but terrifying aura towards the very center of these clustering hourglasses. And the moment he locked onto and discovered this figure also raised his head up and began to look around. Chapter 3186, The Commonwealth, the Three. The figure was that of an old man, seeming entirely human without a speck of fur or tail that many of those from the Commonwealth seemed to hold. His stature was that of an old man, and yet his hair and long beard were black and brimming with vitality. He was adorned in a white robe that seemed to hide a robust body underneath, with his pupils dark and cloudy as if they held countless planes of existence within. In the center of the constructs that looked like hourglasses, this old man had been walking around when he suddenly raised his head, his eyes squinting as he voiced out in this vast space. A sliver of something peering here, going by the fact that nobody from the Commonwealth would be spying on this place or me. This gaze should be one of someone from this omniverse wanting to see just who has invaded their home. The old man spoke calmly as he went back to walking around the hourglass constructs, checking them as he passed. "I commend you for your capabilities and guts. Are you wondering what all these little trinkets are? Whether you found an answer to what the Commonwealth is doing in this omniverse?" His eyes seemed filled with immeasurable wisdom and age, as after stroking one last hourglass, he walked towards the absolute center of this space and sat down. Before him, a golden fire bloomed as a tea kettle came into existence, 2 cups appearing opposite the kettle as the old man breathed out with tiredness. "Let's see. By the process of elimination, you wouldn't be that Utera nor that Imperium. They would want to plan more in their age before they move. Being younger can make one bold in their abilities. So you must be the youngest faction leader in this place. Osmont, is it?" His vibrant dark hair listened as he stroked his beard, the tea within the kettle beginning to release golden steam as he breathed in with contentment while beckoning with his hands. "Please, I like to look at the person I'm talking with out of politeness. Don't let an old man ramble by himself to nothing. As a bonus, I'm currently burning tea leaves from an omniversal oak of existence that an entire omniverse depended on. The tea born from this is so pricey and hard to even get your hands on, you know?" His gaze was calm. He was sure there was someone in this space, and he made a conjecture that it was Noah, and at this moment, he actually invited him to sit opposite him, as while the authority of the laborer of the Atlas of existence burned around him, Noah foresaw many possibilities before a moment later. Whap! A point of colorless singularity appeared beside the seated old man. This singularity twisted and distorted greatly before moments later, it transformed into the handsome visage of Noah in a similar white robe. Radiant, colorless wings spread out behind his back and feet as he sat down, looking at the old man before him, whose aura seemed reserved but unfathomably heavy. And the old man smiled at him with interest as he nodded and grabbed the tea kettle, pouring golden liquid brimming with existence onto the cups before him. They have files on all of you disseminated to the higher-ups and anyone pertinent already. All analyses they made, your probable psyche, power, and lands governed. The one who holds a unique mobile plane of existence while also having the youngest probable age of existence is one that caught my eye. Emperor Osmond, is it? Small tidbits of information were revealed as Noah took the cup holding the vibrant golden liquid, nodding calmly as he asked, "And you are?" An abstruse old man. His existence held tremendous power, and yet his disposition was a unique one as he smiled while taking a sip of his tea before he replied. An old man lost in the vast seas of existence, but those who know me as Ashmole, a simple alchemist. Ashmole, a terrifying name and an even more unique occupation, this being nodding with contentment as he sipped the tea made from an omniversal oak tree and continued. I study the origins of existence, the variety of sources of existence that arise across the omniverses, their differences and their similarities, the transformation of life itself, and exactly what binds everyone together. Just from his speech, the surrounding weavings of existence turned tumultuous and heavy, his eyes radiating a penetrative light of brilliance as he continued, this time while he pointed to the hourglasses around them. What you see before you are my alchemical creations. Something I had already been working on, but the Commonwealth made me mass produce it after I came in contact with them a long time ago. I called it the Transformary of Existence, a tool to smoothly extract the very essence of existence and transform it into an even more valuable version of existence, something that could be used to make many alchemical creations possible. I believed it was a step forward to learning more about the origins of existence. The Transformary of Existence. Noah looked at the thousands upon thousands of these massive hourglasses as he asked succinctly, "And what do you believe now?" He came across the Commonwealth just like Noah. He came under their banner, similar to the Empress of the existential omniversal Orcanium Whales, but his power and standing seemed to be much more terrifying. At Noah's words, he sipped on the vibrant tea while shaking his head. "Now, my alchemical tools will be used to extract the nectar of existence of your omniverse, as they have been getting used for many other omniverses. They've become corporate tools for the flourishing of more existence, yes. But I am no closer to answering my questions regarding the origins of existence. I've been working tirelessly all these years as countless weavings tell me an answer is close. That an answer is near, but just when it seems I have arrived at the cusp of obtaining it, it slips further away." Chapter 3187, The Commonwealth. 4. Ashmole, an old man holding terrifying origins, with his existence searching for the very origins of existence themselves. Why do different omniverses produce similar life forms but with different sources of existence? Why is the humanoid form of existence the most prevalent, and yet with the weakest beginnings and values? Why? Questions flowed freely from this being, as he seemed to be recalling everything he wanted to answer. After going on like this for a while, he shook his head and locked his gaze on Noah once more. I have many questions that still need to be answered, and thus, I take great curiosity in any unique things I come across. I may not come close to being one of the terrifyingly powerful existences within the Commonwealth, but I pride myself somewhat in my power. For you to have been able to hide from me to the extent that I couldn't pinpoint where you were, must mean you have a truly unique origin of existence. The more of such origins I study, the more chances that one day I may actually understand the origins of everything. So, for the sake of research, may I have a bit of your blood?" Ashmole sipped his tea with seriousness after he finished speaking, and Noah looked at him silently as his eyes turned to the Transformary of existence all around them. What would be getting used to essentially farm existence itself from this omniverse that the Commonwealth was fattening up with existential terraforming? I won't just ask and take without anything to give back. Look here. Before his, Ashmole continued his musings as he pulled out a pure white book, a grimoire, a codex. On its cover, it held the title, The Manuscript of Existence, a record of the myriad parts of existence I've come across over the eons. It ranges from the weakest life forms I've come across to the strongest ones who have complied with my requests. You share with me a drop of blood, and I... He waved his hand over the glorious white book as a fourth of its pages simmered as illusory pages came up. A portion of my records of existence from the manuscript of existence are yours, you read. From all sorts of life forms and oddities I've come across as I traveled under the banner of the Commonwealth. The pages shone with potent waves of existence as they floated towards Noah. He looked at them carefully, as this was exactly what he wanted for himself. Records of different sources of existence and how similar or different they were to his atlas of existence. But his expression remained placid as he asked first, under the banner of the Commonwealth, why do you follow their banner? Why make them Pel, the transformare of existence, and be with them for all of these eons? The reason for this alchemist to follow the Commonwealth, it couldn't purely be to further his research, could it? Ashmole smiled at such a question as he looked up at the enclosed wall in this space above, while he replied, as vibrant as existence is, there are also things that absolutely decimate and erase existence. Many eons ago, I found myself coming to a realization of how hilariously outmatched I was when it came to forces whose natural aims are the erasure of existence. And the Commonwealth was the only thing with the strength to stand against them. I may not agree with many of their methods. I may not like those who sit at the highest levels of power within the Commonwealth. But they are doing what must be done, and they have the power to do it. That is why I am where I am, Osmont. Why are you here? An entity of his caliber, someone that at this moment, Noah could not say with confidence whether he would even be capable of getting through his defenses. Even now, as his atlas of existence sought to analyze everything, seeing through this old man was an impossibility, as much about him was unknown. But he still stated why he was where he was, why he did what he did. As for Noah, he grabbed the illusory pages in front of his hole, giving his reply. I'm actually following the same goal as you, understanding all three different systems of existence out there. His words caused Ashmole to raise his head and stroke his beard as he asked dubiously, you wouldn't be among those seeking simulate different sources of existence, would you? I've looked into that route. All that I've seen has been instability and destruction to existence overall, my friend. Of course, it is also something the Commonwealth has outlawed. His last words were more of a reminder towards Noah, to caution him as he smiled while his will delved into the few pages from the manuscript of existence. Why, of course, the purity of existence is what keeps the wheel turning, is it not? Boom! Simple words from Noah. But in the next moment, the very weavings of existence of Ashmole erupted out with immensity and grandiosity, purple tendrils of brilliance seething around him as his eyes became as deep as the domains of existence of an omniverse. He looked at Noah with immense somberness as he voiced out while emanating a terrifying aura. Why did you say that? Around Noah, silent and unseen tendrils of the authority of the laborer began to gather as his eyes became sharp while he asked, say what? Both of their words were now filled with intent and authority. Terrifying waves of existence pulsed. The eyes of Ashmole were deep as he seemed to be reining himself in as he spoke slowly. The purity of existence is what keeps the wheel turning. Why did you say this? What do you know about the wheel? Wah! The wheel. Noah's simple words had evoked such a reaction from this being as he pointed around them while replying calmly. The massive wheel-shaped construct we are all in. the wheels binding the center of your hourglass constructs. It seems that a wheel is a big theme with you all, as I just said words related to it. Why did it cause you to get like this, my friend? Noah truly had just spoken the words out freely, but for them to evoke such a reaction, did he stumble onto a grand secret inadvertently? The purity of existence is what keeps the wheel turning. The purity of existence, the wheel. Ashmole looked into Noah's eyes with interminable brilliance before moments after, his aura receded into nothingness as he simply sat